folks, welcome back. Real quick, I want to do a video on why puppy training. Why do you even do puppy training? Why not just wait? And if you folks look at my other videos, I just posted a video of me working with Buddy. He's should be right 4 days old now, or not. We've had him for 5 days. We've done 4 days of training with him. So, but why puppy training? Well, number one, you're teaching the puppy to look at you at a young age for whatever, right? To come to you, to focus on you. And the sooner you teach them to focus on you, whether it be for stimulus or for something, learning or whatever, then the better. I mean, puppies are like kids. You know, puppies are like kids. Kids have to be raised, right? I mean, I guess you look at some environments, especially with the way the world is right now. I mean, you know, some kids aren't raised; they just grow bigger. They just get bigger, right? And then you see the results of it. And but puppies are the same way. If you don't give them guidance, if you fail to guide the puppies, then you wind up with all kind of issues that you don't know how to resolve. At least if you have an input as a puppy, as a responsible pet owner or parent, whatever, you can say, I've done my part. Or you can say, well, let me figure this out. And most dogs just want people to interact. If you just stick them in the house or you stick them out in the yard or whatever, then you can't control them, right? You get these animals that sit in the house and the company comes over, right? Somebody knocks on the door, and puppies or the dogs, as an older dog, they just start freaking out, barking. You can't control them. You got to go put them in another room. You've seen that, right? We've seen that. I've seen it. You got to go put them in another room. So, or you got the dog that's chained up outside, right? Because he can't interact with people. And the majority of those issues come from improper or not using the proper techniques to socialize the animals when they're young. If you socialize puppies and you take puppies out in the environments and you work with them in their different environments, then they learn that people aren't bad, or just because somebody knocks on the door. You put them in a controlled environment. You teach that to them, right? You teach them to look at you too. If you freak out, then they're going to learn that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to freak out. When you get tense, or when your body language tells them that there's something wrong, then they look at you for guidance. So you have to establish these things as a puppy, not when they get big and they're around everybody, and then you're concerned or you're scared they're going to do something, right? Now it's like you're promoting it, right? Because now you got a big puppy and over, a 6-7 month old Great Dane, and now you're tugging on him and you're scared he's going to do something. And every time you tug, now he freaks out because now he thinks something's wrong because you're tugging him, and it's a revolving door. I've actually seen this where something started off very innocent. The owner overreacted, pulled the dog. The dog felt the pull, felt the tension in the tension in the owner. Now that created a marker for the dog, saying now every time this owner acts this way, tenses up this way, pulls the leash this way, then I'm supposed to. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. And I've broken many dogs out of that issue, and it's all reverts back to the owner, right? So failure to train can cause these problems. If you're working with your dog on a daily basis, the dog understands you. They understand the rules of the house. They understand, and take them out in different environments, different parts. You don't have to take them around a lot of people, but I would encourage always take your puppies around multiple people, multiple types of people, ethnic groups, ages. Because some people that's never been around kids, they see kids as a threat. Because kids are more on a high level. Young kids are almost on the same eye level as the dogs. They can be threatened just by a young child. Same thing with the elderly. Some dogs that's never been around elderly may see them as a threat. But you're teaching them the rules. You teach them to focus on you, focus on the environment, and you're learning a lot about this puppy. You're learning a lot about. Sorry about that. You're learning a lot about this puppy's nerves. You should see things in a puppy. You know, say the puppy freaks out on linoleum floors, for example. You should see that early, and you should be able to work the puppy through it. You know, encourage the puppy to go through it. And part of what I do, part of my training, what I believe in, is you can't make a big deal about things. Now, is that 100% effective? Not 100%, but it works most of the time. You have to let the puppy overcome its own fears. As long as there's nothing there to fear, right? You can't. Oh, come on. You know, poke and prod and you know, if it's nothing there to fear, but the puppy fears it, you gotta let them overcome it. If you don't allow it to overcome it, two things. If you don't allow it to overcome the fear, then it's only going to magnify as it gets older. Because it's always said that in his mind that that's something to fear, and it's never been allowed to figure out that there's nothing to fear. So as it gets older, it will always think that it's worse than what they remember. That's worse than I want to remember. I definitely can't do that. That's one. And two, you can't pressure. Because now when you pressure them, and say that, I don't know, just say you pressure them to do something, maybe they twist their toe or whatever, fall on their face. Now they perceive you as someone that don't have their best interests at heart. You know, you're the protector, right? Ultimately, you're the protector. So what I do is I try to allow, if there's nothing to fear, I try to allow the puppy to overcome it on their own. For example, when we first got Buddy home the other day, we were going from transitioning from grass to pavement or grass to sidewalk, and we were just walking normal. He stopped, and we just look at the sidewalk like, ugh, and he wouldn't go, and we just kept on walking like normal. You know, hey, you can stay there. We're gonna go on over here. Never pressured him, never called him. Eventually, he stuck his little foot out there and realized it's just pavement. It's just different type of surface. And now he doesn't even hesitate. But I didn't pressure him. But now, if I would have took him and just put him up and never ever took him back in that environment ever again, who knows how he might would have acted about that sidewalk when he got 2 years old and never been, around it again. So, and this is something that works for me. At least this is how I look at it. It helped me. I wasn't allowed to overcome my fear of heights when I was a kid. Now I'm definitely fearful of heights. If I was allowed or put in a situation where I was able to overcome that fear of heights when I was a kid, then I probably would be whatever, daredevil or whatever nowadays. But by me not having that ability, then it's festered and it's gotten worse instead of better as I got older. And that's the thing with puppies. If you don't resolve it as a puppy, which is easier to teach puppies, just like it's easier to teach kids like a new language, right? You teach a kid a new language. It's easier to teach kids new things than it is to teach adults. Because we already pre-programmed. By the time we get to be adults, we're pre-programmed a certain way of learning, right? You got to either figure out a way to teach a new adult a new way, or make them learn a new way, or you got to figure out how they learn, so with visual, whatever. Same thing with puppies. If they haven't overcome it as a puppy, it's only going to get worse as an adult or as an adult dog. So, and it's easy to overcome most things as a pup if you just allow them to work on it and at least figure it out in their head. But the main thing is you got to be consistent with it. You got to be consistent. You got to be rewarding. It's got to be rewarding some way. Whether it be a treat, verbal. It doesn't always have to be food. It doesn't always have to be. It doesn't always have to be a negative thing. It can just, can be just a verbal good job and just pick them up or scratch them on the head. And I would say alternate it. It shouldn't always be food. And I'm not saying you can't use food. But what happens when you don't have food, right? And you got to get past that. You teach the dog manners, the puppies manners. It's easier to teach them manners right away when you get them than it is, of course, when they get older. Not saying that you can't get a rescue dog that's 2 or 3 years old and bring it in the house and teach it manners. No, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, why is puppy training important? But when do you do puppy training? When should you start puppy training, right? You should start immediately. Immediately. As soon as you get that puppy, you should start working on manners, focus work, your cues, your markers, no jumping, whatever your rules of the house are, no jumping. Crate training, should do crate training immediately. You teach the puppy that isolation is not a bad thing, and that can prevent a lot of issues later in life too. Is teaching them that the crate's a good thing, and never use crate as punishment. That's another thing you got to teach yourself. Things that are supposed to be positive got to remain positive. You can never use a positive. You should never, and I'm gonna say you can never, but you should never use something that's meant to be positive, like the crate, for example, as a punishment. Go to your crate. You shouldn't do that. Crate should be there for the puppy to go in and out when they want relief, or when you have to put them there to go to work or go somewhere, leave the house. But never when he or she's done something wrong. At least that's my opinion. Other people may do it different ways. And of course, we get into an argument of e-collars and stuff. And later on, when Buddy gets a little older, I'll go over that type of stuff. But yeah, puppy training is very important. The sooner, the better. And remember, it's all about teaching the puppy the environment, teaching them the rules of the house, and getting them already in the process of learning. And most owners aren't going to teach anything crazy, any crazy stuff. It's going to be basic stuff like wait, stay, sit, down, heel, come around, wait as he's going in and out of a door or in and out of stuff like that. It's going to be basic stuff. Manners. That's really what it is, manners. You sit when I tell you to sit, you stay when I tell you to stay, you down when I tell you to down, you all that stuff. You just make it about manners, and then everything else falls in line. I really do believe that. I believe that when you teach the puppy how to crate, and you teach them how to sit, and you teach how to stay, you teach them the basic manners, everything else falls in line. All right, folks. Well, I appreciate it. I wish I would like you to subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that, and hit the like button, please. Thank you.